Hello dear kids, welcome back to social science class. Today we are going to learn a new chapter from geography, that is water and its circulation. The term water is synonymous with our life. As we all know, water is essential for the survival of all living beings on earth and is also a very important natural resource. In fact, the presence of water in large quantities makes our earth unique among all the planets of the solar system. So in this chapter we will discuss about the water cycle, what is fresh water and its sources, about salinity and temperature of ocean water, then water waves, how a tsunami occurs and its effects, about tides and their importance, and what are ocean currents and their effects. Okay, so here is our mind map, water and its circulation. We will discuss first about the water cycle, then we will go for fresh water, then saline water, then temperature of the oceans, then importance of oceans, then the circulation of ocean water, then waves, tsunami and tides, and at the end we will discuss about ocean currents, then importance of ocean currents. So let us learn together. And as we all know, about 71% of the surface of the earth is covered with water. No wonder then that our earth is often referred to as a watery planet or blue planet, right? All the water bodies such as the oceans, seas, rivers, lakes, etc. together make up the hydrosphere, and it also includes the ice sheets in the polar and the high mountain regions, right? Then the underground water and the water vapor in there, everything. Okay, so all this together make about 71% of the surface of the water with of the earth with water. And do you know what is water cycle? Yes, let's have a recap of what is water cycle. The water cycle or the hydrological cycle is the continuous change of water from one physical state to another, and its circulation from the surface of the earth to the atmosphere and back, from the surface of the earth to the atmosphere and to back. Evaporation, condensation and precipitation, right? Yes. Ocean water evaporates due to the sun's heat and reaches the atmosphere as water vapor. Okay, and in the upper layers of air, cooling and condensation take place and the water vapor changes into water droplets, and these grow in size and eventually fall down as precipitation, right? And some of the water falling on the land seeps down into the earth, while most of it flows into rivers, which again join the oceans, and evaporation starts all over again and the cycle continues. So that is known as what? The water cycle. And do you know what is fresh water? Yes, now we are going to discuss about fresh water. Water that contains very little dissolved salts is called fresh water. Although about 3/4 of the earth's surface is covered by water, very little of it is fresh, and about 97% of the earth's water is in the oceans and seas, and this is saline water and is not suitable for human consumption, right? Then the remaining three is fresh water. Out of this, 2% is in the form of ice caps and glaciers, which cannot be reached by us. So There's only 1% of the earth's water is easily available and fit for human use. So it's our responsibility to take care of water and use water properly or wisely. And it is found as surface water in the rivers and lakes, the remaining 1%. Okay, as groundwater and as water vapor in the atmosphere. And what about saline water then? Yes, water containing a large amount of dissolved salt is called saline water. The oceans and seas have saline water, and there are various types of salts dissolved in ocean water, but sodium chloride or common salt, magnesium chloride, then magnesium sulfate and calcium sulfate, etc. are the main ones. Okay, and the amount of salt in the ocean water is called salinity. Okay, the amount of salt in the ocean water is called salinity, and salinity of ocean water is on an average 35% per 1000. 35 per 1000. This means that in 1000 grams of ocean water there are 35 grams of dissolved salts. Okay, then salinity of ocean water is, however, not the same as all places. It varies. It depends on the various factors like rate of evaporation, then amount of precipitation, then amount of fresh water that is added to the ocean. Got it? Good. Do you know what is temperature of ocean water? Yeah, let us see. The temperature of ocean water is not the same everywhere and all time of the year. It will change. Oceans are the warmest near the equator and became cooler towards the poles. As we know, the equatorial regions are torrid zones, right? It receives the direct sunlight. So those areas, the areas nearby the equator, oceans are warmest. And when it is moving, when we move towards poles, it is cooler. And the difference between the summer and winter temperature of the oceans are greater in northern hemisphere than in the southern hemisphere. Why? Because of the vast expanse of water in the southern hemisphere. So while we are comparing to northern and southern hemisphere, we could find more water in southern hemisphere. Okay, let us see. And do you know what are the importance of oceans? As we all know, the oceans are useful to us in number of ways, right? Oceans, the prime source of humidity and precipitation, right? Then they moderate the climate of the coastal regions. As we know, the coastal regions experiences moderate climate than the interior parts of the land, right? And marine life found in the ocean water provides a source of livelihood to many people. And salts dissolved in the ocean water and mineral deposits on the ocean floor are economically important to us. Then oceanic tides can be harnessed to generate electricity, and oceans serve as a means of transport, a cheap means of transport. Also, all these are the importance of oceans. Okay, then now we are moving to the next. It's bit important. Listen me carefully. Circulation of ocean water. Circulation of ocean water. The waters of the oceans are constantly in motion. It keeps on moving. They move horizontally as well as vertically. Okay, the ocean water move horizontally and vertically. The movements of the ocean water are of two types. Do you know what are they? One is waves and another one is currents, ocean currents. And do you know what are the reason behind the movements? Yes, these movements are caused due to some factors like differences in temperature and differences in salinity, then variation in the density of seawater, then prevailing winds Okay, so these are the few reasons behind the movements of the ocean water. So let us see the first movement, that is waves. Okay, so waves are the alternate up and down movement of water particles caused by winds. Okay, waves are the alternate up and down movement of water particles because of the action of winds. When blowing winds disturb the surface of water, waves are produced. Okay, then particles of water are pushed down by the wind and then come up again. This up and down movement is passed from one particle to another and is visible as what? Waves. Clear? Then the wave travels in the direction of the wind. Wave travels in the direction of the wind, and it is actually the motion that is transported. The water particles do not travel. The water particles do not travel. It is what? The motion that is transported by wind. And the upper part of the wave is called crest, and the lower part is called trough. Okay, upper part is known as crest and the lower part of the wave is known as trough. Then the vertical distance between the crest and trough, the difference between crest and trough, its vertical difference is called what? Wave height. Wave height. Okay, the distance between, the vertical distance between crest and trough from bottom to top is known as what? Wave height. And the horizontal distance between two crests, okay, one wave to the next or one top to the next top of the two waves is known as, or the distance between the crest and trough is called the wave height, and the horizontal distance between the two crests or two troughs is called wavelength. Is it clear? Okay. And the shape and height of the waves depend on the speed of the wind. Okay, the shape and the height of the waves depend on the speed of the wind. A light breeze produces gentle waves, while violent and stormy winds create huge waves which often cause widespread destruction. Okay, so the shape and height of the wave depend on the speed of the wind. And do you know what is tsunami? We all are familiar, right? Yes, the term tsunami comes from the Japanese word tsu, meaning harbor, and nami, meaning wave. Tsunami, harbor, wave. Okay, so traditionally tsunami is referred to as a huge tidal wave, and tsunamis are caused by earthquakes, then both on land and underwater, then volcanic eruptions on the ocean floor, and underwater explosions and landslides. So these are the causes behind the occurrence of tsunami, and all these waves approach the coast and they build up in height, and upon striking the land cause massive destruction. Okay, and what about tides? Yes, tides are the periodic rise and fall of the water level in the sea which occur at regular intervals twice a day. Yes, high tides and low tides. Yes, when the level of the sea water rises, it is high tide, and when the level of water falls, it is low tide. And tides are caused by the gravitational pull of moon and the sun. Okay, the tides are caused by the gravitational pull of the moon and the sun. The moon exerts a larger gravitational pull than the sun, even though it is smaller in size. Okay, and this is because the distance between the earth and the moon is less compared to that between the earth and the sun. And the height of tides is not the same every day of the month. It depends on the relative position of the moon and the sun with respect to the Earth. Okay, let us see. During the full moon, okay, full moon day, that means Purnima in India, yes. And during full moon and the new moon is Amavasya, right? And in both these occasions, the earth, moon and sun are in the same straight line. Okay, and the moon and the sun exert their combined gravitational pull in the same direction. Okay, the moon and the sun exerts combined gravitational pull in the same direction, resulting in extra high tides, and these are known as spring tides. Remember, what is spring tides? During full moon day or the new moon day, the earth, moon and the sun will come in a straight line, and the moon and the sun exert their combined gravitational pull, causes the extra high tides, and these high tides are known as spring tides. In the first and the third quarter of the moon, the sun and the moon are at right angles with respect to the earth, and they nullify each other's gravitational pull, resulting in very low tides known as neap tides. So, there is a question, what is the difference between spring tides and neap tides? Please learn it. And do you know what are the importance of tides? Yes, tides are useful to us in many ways. Like during high tide, when the water level near the coast rises, big ships can easily enter or leave the harbors. Okay, when the high tides occur, the ships can easily enter or leave the harbors. And you know, the Kandla port in Gujarat is good example of a tidal port. Okay, it depends on the high tides to leave or enter. And tidal waters wash away the silt deposits from the mouths of big rivers and keep them open for vessels. Okay, then tides help in fishing too. During high tide, when the water level rises, more fish come near to the shore. Okay, when the high tides occur, more fishes come near to the shore, and tidal energy can be harnessed to generate electricity. Tidal power stations have been set up in Canada, Japan and France. Okay, now we are moving to the next, that is ocean currents. Ocean currents are streams of ocean water continuously flowing in definite directions, and they are caused by the action of planetary winds on the surface of oceans and differences in the temperature, salinity and density of waters. Okay, these are the reasons. The rotation of the earth and the shapes of coastlines control the movement of ocean currents and modify their courses. Then ocean currents move clockwise in northern hemisphere. Remember, ocean currents move clockwise in northern hemisphere and anti-clockwise in southern hemisphere. It's very important. And ocean currents are usually narrow and move swiftly at the speed of 3 to 10 kilometers per hour. Broad, slow moving masses of water in the ocean are called drifts. So, what is drift? Broad and slow moving masses of water in the ocean. And the ocean currents that flow from the equatorial region towards the polar regions are warm currents. Okay, the ocean currents which flows from equatorial region to the polar regions are warm, like Gulf Stream, North Atlantic Drift and Kuroshio. Okay, all these are known as what? Warm currents. Then on the other hand, the ocean currents that flow from polar region towards the equator region are, yes, exactly, cold currents, like Benguela current, then Peru current and Oyashio. All these are the examples of cold currents. And what are the effects of ocean currents? So, at the end of the lesson, we will discuss ocean currents influence the climate and human activities of coastal regions in number of ways. What are they? Let us see. Warm ocean currents rise the temperature of the coast, while cold ocean currents lower the temperature. Very simple to understand. Warm ocean currents, which is going from where? From the equatorial regions to polar regions, rises the temperature of the coast, and while cold currents, which is coming from polar regions to the equatorial regions, lower the temperature of that particular place. Then winds that blow over warm currents are moist and bring rainfall to the coastal regions. Then winds that blow over cold regions or cold currents are dry, and hence they do not cause any rain. Then in places where warm and cold currents meet, in places where warm and cold currents meet, plenty of planktons. You know what is planktons? Plenty of planktons are found here. So these are excellent food for fish. Planktons are excellent food for fish. Okay. So such area where the warm and cold currents meet, such regions are important fishing grounds. Okay. However, the mixing of warm and cold ocean currents, produce dense fog in these regions. Okay, the mixing of warm and cold ocean currents produce what? Dense fog in this region. So it reduces the visibility and is dangerous for ships. Okay, and ocean currents influence navigation. Ships sailing in the direction of the current will sail faster and save time and fuel. Okay, it's very important. So these are the important facts of this chapter. So let's have a recap. We have learned about 71% of the surface of the earth is covered with water, and 97% out of the earth's water is saline, and only 3% is fresh, and we will get only 1%. And the cycle of evaporation, condensation and precipitation is never ending, and it's keep on happening, and it's called what? Water cycle. Then the movement of ocean water can be of three types. What are they? Waves, tides and currents. And the waves are formed due to the pushing action of the wind. Then tides are periodic rise and fall of the sea water level, which occur at regular intervals twice a day, high tides and low tides. And tides are caused by the gravitational pull of moon and the sun. Then the horizontal movement of ocean water in the form of a broad stream in a definite direction is called ocean current. Then we learned ocean currents influence the climate and the economic activities of coastal regions. So please learn this lesson well. Take care. Bye bye.